Peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. It's the big homie, the one and only, your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber. I want to speak today about success, the motivation that carries you to success, the mindset, and the discipline. Anytime you take out your time to watch someone before a screen, I would hope that you walk away with something you can use today. On success, we have to understand that the outcome of success, the outcome of goals is supposed to be happiness. You should be happy at the end of it, but here's the part that most of you don't know about. You're also supposed to be happy on your way to success. It turns out that though happiness is the outcome, happiness is also a critical aspect and fuel to getting to the outcome. And that process of goal achievement is a lifelong process. For if you ever were to say, I've arrived, then life becomes boring and meaningless. You have to then set a new goal and get back on the horse. So today we talk about success. Feel free to send in your thoughts, questions, comments via Cash App or PayPal. And I'll go ahead and put the PayPal email address here. And if you have questions, thoughts, comments, or opinions you'd like to share on success and mindset, feel free. Firstly, I would like to point out the fact that there's a corporation, Philip Morris, which is able to sell you cigarettes, even though we are all aware that cigarettes cause cancer, cause you to smell bad. They carry a social stigma and they lead to premature death, and people still buy them. So why shouldn't you be able to produce a product that sells? I heard a very poor financial planner. I mean, financially poor. He's a financial planner, but he's in poverty. And he said, it's not cool that you recommend product-based business to everyone because everyone can't become an entrepreneur. I said, yeah, that's true. Everyone cannot, but the people who choose to can. He said, well, 9 out of 10 businesses fail. I said, well, if that's true, then just create 10 businesses and you're assured of success. That is actually the nature of life in all things, not only business. If someone can sell to you cigarettes that you knew in advance would hurt you and you still buy it, surely you can come up with a product that will sell and provide a financial base for yourself. When you're thinking about your life, there's a couple cheat codes that will bring you to success. Number one is urgency. How ambitious are you about getting to this goal you have? The second one is discipline. Discipline outlasts motivation and inspiration. Sometimes you don't feel quite pepped up, but discipline are the things that you do on a regular basis. Discipline is why I was out here going for a run after I got off a 13-hour flight. You dig? Discipline. In my mind, it said, let's go ahead and get this work. That's what we do every day around this time. Discipline. I didn't need to be inspired or motivated. It's a habit. Shout out to Justin supporting the work. Comes in via Cash App. He writes, Peace to the Saints. We'll catch the replay on Patreon. And indeed, all the replays are on Patreon. Just uploaded 2 new videos. One entitled How a Man Demonstrates Value to a Woman. And the other one entitled How to Not Be a Feminine Man or a Masculine Woman. Tremendous amounts of game. Almost 4 hours in content with those 2 uploads alone. Now, as I said, you have urgency, discipline, and inspiration. Those are the 3 things that will get you on your way to your goal. Discipline should always be there. Urgency is what gets you started. Urgency is when people look at you and say, man, he's on something different. Urgency is when people look at you and say, I want to be like him. What's he on? Urgency is what wakes you up early. Urgency is what keeps you up late at night. Urgency is what gets you there faster than everybody else. Urgency is what lets people know that you're serious. Urgency is what separates you from the average person. Urgency, I'm really trying to get to it. And urgency allows you to be a millionaire at 30 instead of 50. You did. You look young and wealthy. That's a major difference. Shout out to Lady of Justice, says she's new in the building. Go ahead, grab some popcorn and grab your notepad. Further, I also like to use competition to drive up intensity. Anytime you can do that, you're going to go harder. Competition can sometimes give you inspiration. And it's a critical thing because inspiration makes you move faster. And when you move faster, you achieve the goal sooner. But here's the key to life that people forget about. This is why you're sitting at home unhappy, because you feel stagnant. You don't feel like life is going anywhere. One, because you failed to set a goal. Number two, because you're not making progress. And I can promise you, anytime you move faster than you expected, you achieve faster than you expected, that'll put a smile on your face. Huh? Let's talk about it. Now, I had a time when I said to myself, you know what? I'd like to start a tech company. I have an idea for an app, a mobile app. People would tell me reasonable things of discouragement, such as, Marquette, you have a degree in political science, not computer science. What makes you think you, random black guy from LA, born of poverty, what makes you think that you can be the next Zuckerberg, or you can create a technology that people around the world are going to use? Why you? You don't have the education, you don't have the money, you don't have the background, you don't have the connections. They were saying all reasonable things. But the only problem is that those things were reasonable for their reality, not mine, because I'd already made a decision. The problem is that you'll have many people who try to give you advice not knowing what is on your path. They can't see your vision, which means you must think with your own brain. You must also be realistic, though, right? There's a lot of people who want to be a millionaire, multi-millionaire in their 20s. That happens rarely. But your 30s, you're still young. Important thing to remember. So know what you know. One thing I was certain of is that I could create a mobile application and I could be successful in the technology sphere. I knew what I knew, meaning I had 100% certainty, and nothing the outside world could say would stray me away from that. I stuck to my script. You can't expect others to see your vision. Now, that requires faith, something that is in great lack today. And I don't care where you go, you will find a lack of faith all over the world. Even when you find high concentrations of churches, even when you find churches are full, mosques are full, temple is full, you still find a lack of faith. It turns out that, most people go to the church not for God, but for the community. They want to be a part of something, Yes. But in reality, see, you have to be able to see what's really there. That's the difference between great people and average people. We see what's really there, the reality of things, and we deal with the reality while staying optimistic. But I had great faith that I knew what I knew. I had the discipline to stick to my script. I blocked out the voices of others, and I was able to achieve. Let me tell you something that is counterintuitive that I want you to remember on your path to success. It is counterintuitive. A, you must be able to stick to the script, persist, stay doggedly focused on what you've decided to do. B, you must know when to quit. Whoa, you're telling me to persist and also know when to quit? Yeah, that's a challenge that I've had over my successful life. You see, I wasn't built to quit. So sometimes I'd get involved in something and just keep on going, even though that road was no longer the right road for me. Turns out sometimes things change. What I mean by that is this. Sometimes you're running a business and it's not profitable, but you keep on going and there's no profit in the future. Sometimes you're with a woman who the love just ain't there. The thrill is gone. Sometimes you got to know when to quit. I say this not to the average person out there, because the average person quits too much. I say this to the people who are very ambitious and sometimes don't know when to quit. You must, number one, know how to follow it till the wheels fall off. Persist until you win. And at the same time, know when to quit. And that has to be a decision made by you, not by those outside of you. Know when to quit a relationship, know when to quit a bad habit, know when to quit a hopeless business. Further, I want you guys to embrace appropriate change quickly. Now understand what I'm saying. And I appreciate those of you who are sending in the super chats and all that good stuff. We will address it. Keep on sending it in so when I get to it, we can just go boom, 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 boom. You may have heard of a brand called Ralph Lauren or Ralph Lauren, however you like to say that. It has become iconic around the world, a representation of the American upper class, the WASP, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Ironically, this strong brand called Ralph Lauren was started by a little-known Jewish designer named Ralph Lipschitz. And he made the appropriate adaptation, which is to say that he knew his last name was vulgar and Jewish, and it would not be something that would represent the American ideal. He made the appropriate adaptation for success. Sometimes we don't want to improve or change or adjust. when in reality, success requires that very thing. For if you could continue doing the same things you're already doing, you'd have success today. If you want something new tomorrow that you don't have today, tomorrow, you must be someone greater than you were today. Embrace appropriate change. And understand that on your path to success, you will not always win in general, and you will not always win the first time. And what I mean by that is sometimes we get under the delusion that the first time we try a business, that first product's going to be successful. Or the first time you talk to that woman, she's going to give you her number and follow up with you and go out on that first date, and things are going to go swimmingly. No, sometimes you apply to medical school and you don't get in the first time or the second time. You get in the third time. So remember to keep applying. Sometimes you see that gorgeous woman that you work with and you're not able to crack her straight away. You wear her out over time, and eventually she becomes dedicated to you. But the key to life is that persistence and that faith and being able to go through that process, which is challenging, with a smile on your face. Being able to enjoy the struggle. It is a rare breed when you're in the midst of that boxing match and your nose is bleeding and your eye is swelling and you have the audacity to smile during the boxing match. That's what I'm encouraging you to do. Why not? Further, understand that the master key to success is self-belief, belief in you. You. And that is why anytime I hear someone poking out their chest and shouting loud and being proud of who they are, I too am proud of them, because that is the fundamental thing it takes to be successful, to believe that you deserve something above and beyond what everyone else has. If you didn't believe you were any better than anyone else, then you would have that which is average, which is to say you would have very little. You'd be scratching out an existence at a job that you don't like. You must believe you are better than average to have things that are above average. And I want you to know that that is okay. And it is even more so okay when you actually demonstrate on a regular basis the thinking and the habits and behaviors that indicate you are above average. That is how you earn the things that are above average. But I want you to know that self-belief is the master key. If you don't believe in you, no one else will believe. And I'll tell you a funny story. As a man who came from obscurity and made a bit of a name for himself. Before I was winning, no one else believed I would win. When I started winning, then every idea I had, they're like, oh, that'll work. Of course you can do that. You know, right now I could tell people I'm going to make a time machine. They say, that sounds good. Can I invest? You see, once you're a winner, and everyone believes, things are different. But before that, only you know what's inside. It's upon you to bring that to the surface. Once it's brought to the surface, then everyone's like, oh yeah, I always knew you were a hustler. I always knew you were going to be successful. Oh, did you? Did you? Because I don't remember that. I don't remember you knocking on my door to offer me money when I was in the early stages. I didn't get like that. I appreciate those of you who are supporting this work, because this may be the most important lecture that you hear today, and it might be the only lecture. Everybody else is talking about celebrity gossip. Let's be real here. I want you to know that most people get confused into thinking they've not been wildly successful because they lack the big idea, that their ideas are not of good enough quality or their ideas are not numerous enough. This is surely not the case. One thing that I am certain of is that ideas are largely worthless, and we engage in excessive ideation, ideating, creating ideas, having thoughts, and we are insufficient in our action, which is to bring the product to market, to create the product, to make the phone call, to make the connection, to get the work done, in other words. We are insufficient on that side of things. And sometimes you go brain dead watching life, forgetting to live life. What I mean is that you should be asking yourself, am I watching life right now, or am I living life? And every time you should be trying to live life. You see, I was out tonight trying to get my run in this foreign country. and I kind of stumbled upon the nightlife area, and I saw a bunch of people in soccer jerseys, and I bet they'd never questioned why they're the fan wearing the jersey rather than the player wearing the jersey. That's a question that's perpetually on my mind. Am I watching life or living life? Am I in the stands watching the game, or am I in the game? It should be an ever-present question, driving your decisions. I want you all to know that reading and writing is a spiritual practice. It is the foundation of a disciplined life of an achiever. In fact, shame on me. I should link the journal here that I have so you can write every day. And every day that you take out the time to write, you should write on the following categories, which is health, wealth, relationships. Health. How did I feel today? How did my body react? How did I react to exercise? Did I feel any different in my body? Wealth. What is my financial goal over the next 15 days? What am I going to do today just to get a little inch closer to it? Relationships. Who do I need to meet? Whether it's a female that I'm interested in, or a number of females so that I can find one that's worthy, or it's a politically important person, or it's someone who can help me get an advantage in one of the areas of life that are important to me. Who did I meet? Who do I need to meet? Where do I need to be? And then it's a reflection of the day. I'm actually adding that to the description right now. This is a journal where you can just blank spiral paper and just every day take down your notes on what occurred in the day and what needs to occur tomorrow in the areas of health, wealth, and relationships. And I'm thinking of it over a 15-day period. You're setting those goals. So here we go. There's a link to a blank journal. Keep it simple for you. Another thing you must remember is that life will always have duality. It'll have the saint and the sinner. It'll have the good, the bad. It'll have the advantaged and the disadvantaged. And what you must ask yourself is, in this dynamic, how can I identify with and inhabit the position of the strong side? Something must master and something must slave. It is the slave who says slavery is bad. It is bad if you're the slave, but if you're the master, it's just profitable. You heard me? You could complain that slavery is a bad institution, or you could figure out how to become the master. Because one thing I'll promise you, slavery is not going anywhere. The question is, will you be the master in the dynamic, whatever it is? It's a metaphor, understand. And in being able to acknowledge the realities of our world, good and bad, slave and master, you are looking at the truth, seeing what is really there. And the key to success is being able to assess the world, look at what's around you. And then, if you're really wise, you'll be able to do this. You'll say, okay, I see what's here today. What will be here in this world tomorrow? Meaning, what's important in the future of this world? And as a business person, you understand what's important for the future, and you try to make sure you're one step ahead, offering the products of the future, offering the services of the future, making sure that you're one step ahead. And understand this, if you're too many steps ahead, then the masses don't understand you. If you're too many steps ahead, then it's harder to sell your product. For example, when I invented a technology, I was too many steps ahead with my technology. People were saying, oh, this technology is invasive of privacy. Turns out several years later, the technology went really well. I just had to wait for the market to catch up. Someone wrote, I disagree in the chat. Well, if you don't have $5 or more to disagree through a super chat, you probably don't have a valid disagreement. I tend to think that if one is suffering poverty, that means that they don't really have the ability to figure out life. So I doubt your disagreement is valid, if I'm being honest with you. Not to say that wealth indicates that you're a better person, but it indicates that you at least know how to add value to a marketplace. So if you do have a disagreement, let it known to the public and we can talk about it. I disagree. The easiest statement ever made. Anthony comes in by PayPal. He writes, "Peace to the saints. Appreciate the early start on this live and the knowledge. These videos always motivate me, but I need to do a better job of having urgency and discipline." Yes, sir. And you know what? Discipline isn't always something that is urgent, but discipline is always there, ever present. Urgency is a beautiful thing when you can grab onto it, and you have to do different things to stimulate that within you. You have to be around the right people. You sometimes have to change environments. You sometimes have to let people know what you're doing so that they're watching you. And if your ego is like mine, if people are watching, you're about to do it like you're doing it for TV. You dig? You're going to do it at a high level, which is to say, I always run faster and longer when I'm running with someone. So you have to do the things that are going to make you perform. I appreciate the support, Anthony. And thank you to those who are clicking the like button. You are appreciated. May I acknowledge Teddy? He writes, "How do you meditate?" Thank you for that question. I meditate in a stretch position. I can't demonstrate it right here because I don't know the cleanliness of this rug here, but it's essentially face down, and it's in a position that stretches the hip, and I stay in that position for up to 5 minutes in a silent room, and I reflect on what has happened and what needs to happen, and then I also try to turn off my mind and just let all of the thoughts float around. And what you'll notice is sometimes your subconscious tells you things. Your subconscious says, hey, you should have done this, or you need to do this, or there are things that are bothering you, like thoughts that keep coming up. Those are the things you want to address because they're bothering you, and they're bothering you for a reason. You need to, I don't want to say trust the subconscious, but rather listen to it and respond to it. If something's keeping you awake at night, if a thought is persistent, you need to address it. Even if you can't solve the whole thing, take one step to make a little bit of progress. Thank you for that.